All right, the Olympics wrapped up on Sunday with the closing ceremony, and Apex is here to give you a recap on the things that matter. So here are the top 8 things that we learned about the Olympics this time. Thing number 1, Noah Lyles is fucking annoying and zesty. That is one of the most despicable, unlikable people I've ever come across. So there's a U.S. sprinter, Noah Lyles. He's known as the fastest man in America because Usain Bolt's not running no more. And he went and made some controversial statements maybe a couple of months prior to the Olympics where he said, how can the NBA call themselves world champions when they're not competing against the world? And as a technicality, he might be right, but when we look at this from an actual standpoint, you sound dumb as hell. Because, as we could see from the Olympics, USA Basketball won the Olympics, and majority of the players who play in the Olympics play in the NBA. Like all the top players in every single country, they all have some NBA players, which indicates that for some reason the NBA has most of the talent of basketball players in the world. And since USA Basketball pretty much whooped everybody's ass, we can essentially state that the NBA has the best talent in the world when it comes to basketball. So that statement, although factual, sounds fucking retarded when you actually look at the logistics and the statistics of it. But I digress, because this guy just so zesty. And we got to talk about, this is another thing about the Olympics I was trying to figure out, and just in general with guys, why are guys painting their fingernails? What is this supposed to mean? I think it's like a allegiance to the LGBTQ alphabet community, because I'm looking at this guy. This is one of the zestiest human beings I've ever seen. And it also comes to another thing, like when I talk about track and field people, I say all track and field people are just dumb. They're dumb by default. I don't think there is such thing as a person who's intelligent that does track and field. And here's my argument. If you are so genetically gifted where you have the ability to compete with the best in the world at like raw athleticism, that means you also should have the genetic fundamentals or the groundwork to be able to compete in soccer, basketball, football, baseball, tennis. You can literally play every sport because you have all the genetic material to be able to compete, and you clearly can do it at a world-class level. So the question becomes, why not? Because if we look at the financial incentives, there is way more money in every single one of those sports as opposed to running track and field, which is a very short-lived prime period. You get about 4 to 6 years. Usain Bolt was able to spread it over down there a decade, but even then he broke down. So I look at it, I say, okay, why are you doing something that's so redundant, so boring? Because when you look at what the training protocol is for somebody who does track and field, or like the 100-minute sprint, what they do is every single day they wake up and they run. They stretch a little bit and they run. And they run. They lift a little bit of weights and they run. And they run, they run, they run, they run, they run. And they do that shit all fucking day for pretty much for most of their young lives. So I questioned myself. I said, do you not get bored? And does this not become repetitive? Because it's not like a football game. It's not like a basketball game where there's a little bit of creativity. There's somebody competing against you. There's new variables. It's always changing up, new teams, things like that. Like even tennis, you're playing against other people. No, in track and field, you are literally running by yourself for an infinite amount of times until your career basically ends. So to me, I look at that, I say, this person is a numbskull or a nincompoop. Because this person does not have the ability to be able to do anything outside of running a straight line by themselves. So that's why I think Noah Lyles is retarded. Because then another thing he was talking about, like, how you guys tell me Anthony Edwards, he never won a world champion. I'm a world champion in running, not realizing that nobody really knows who you are. And this was your limelight, was this in this small little period of time in the Olympics. And then after this, you will fade off into obscurity because, once again, track and field is not very exciting to watch or even interesting to even witness. But basketball, yeah, I'll watch basketball. Basketball is interesting. And that brings to my second point. USA Basketball, we won the gold medal. And to be honest with you, it's very empty and very pointless. I don't understand how you as like NBA players, like I can understand if you win your first medal, but I don't understand how you can get glee and happiness after having pretty much the Monstar team and being able to pretty much beat everybody to oblivion. Like there is no real great, yeah, we won. Nobody's happy for USA Basketball winning a world gold medal. like you're expecting to win a gold medal because you have literally a stacked team that's better than everybody. You have Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, and LeBron all on the same fucking team. If we put those guys in the NBA together, there's a good chance they probably win a championship if they played together. So the idea that you have those three guys alone, plus a bunch of other stars. You got Jason Tatum coming off the bench and not even getting minutes. You got Anthony Edwards coming in. Like, so when I look at it, if you guys have ever competed in a sport league or something like that, one of the things I hate doing is playing on a super stacked team. It's no fun. What's the fucking fun in the game if you're playing against people that you know you should beat and everybody on your team is ridiculously good? There's no fun in it. And we're past the days of like the dream team of Jordan, because back then they only had college players, amateurs that played in the Olympics. So it was actually a struggle for a lot of those, like, to get a gold medal prior to 1992. From 92 and on, essentially it's been gold medal after gold medal, except for the time they got embarrassed somehow in like the year, like, I don't know, like 2012, 2016, some of the year I forgot. But they got beat and they ended up winning bronze. That was the only embarrassing time that America had in a season. But that was largely because the teams that were like in Spain, they played pro together in their own league. Now that the NBA is kind of taking most of the talent of these overseas places, those guys don't have the same unity of playing together like they once did. So when they play a team like the USA, they're just kind of like picking guys and just throwing them in. Like, so like Serbia in that gold medal game. Yeah, you got Jokic, but who's Jokic playing with? It's basically Jokic by himself trying to carry fucking a team. But if you imagine you had like a couple different Jokic's, or Jokic was playing with those guys for most of his career, it might be a different story. They might have more cohesion, more chemistry. They might give him a better run. And even though they still did give him a pretty good run, Steph Curry closed the show. At the same time, even being competitive to some degree with USA basketball, that's a clap in itself. But the USA basketball team is kind of like a kind of pointless almost. If anything, I would say like you should do like half college players, half NBA players. I think that would be a better mixture, give a little bit of challenge, and give these young guys something to aspire to. Because what's the point of having these freaking monster players and like just smoking everybody? It just seems kind of pointless. And then it brings me to my next question. USA gymnastics won gold, and I began to ask, why is gymnastics, skateboarding, diving, why are these sports? Why are these in the Olympics? How do you even judge it? What's the criteria? Like if I was a judge for the gymnastics team, what I would do is, if I was a judge, what I would do the night before is I would look at the top 3 teams, roll a dice, and whatever one got the highest number, that would be the order that I pretty much said that they're going to win. Because what am I judging? How do you even because once again, it's subjective. So it's not like they have an objective measure by which, like they said, hey, everybody in gymnastics, whoever can do 100 backflips in a row in the fastest time, you win the backflip medal or something like that. But no, they have these dance routines and I don't even know what the fuck I'm watching. And the experts will tell you, oh, dude, he did a quadruple somersault right flip. Okay, what the fuck does that mean? What are you talking about? What am I supposed to do with that? And then one of the things I asked about the judges is like, do the judges get like mental fatigue of watching all these people flip? Because I imagine the flipping at the first time compared to flipping watching somebody do it at the 15th time, to some degree, you're kind of just like bored. You want to get out the game. Because I used to be a referee. Now, referee and judge two different things, but I will tell you this: the way that I referee the first game as opposed to the way that I referee the 7th game, totally different, because my mind was out the game. I was mentally done. I didn't care anymore. I'm not calling certain fouls. I'm trying to get this game to go as fast and as smoothly as possible. I'm not trying to call anything. I'm just trying to hustle down the court. So I imagine there's some level of mental fatigue that is going on with these people that are judging and doing the gymnastics thing. But I largely question, why is diving a sport? Why is gymnastics a sport? How do you fairly give these people medals? What are you basing it upon? What's the criteria? And I don't want to hear you have to be an expert. No, that's not a sport. Listen, anybody can sit around and watch basketball and football and be able to tell who's winning or not, because there's an objective measure. You put the ball in the hoop. Whoever put the ball in the hoop at the most times after the clock expires is the winner of the game. I don't know what the fuck I'm watching gymnastics. I know they got 1 minute to do a routine, but what the fuck is the routine? How are you supposed to judge? How do you base somebody else's routine against the other person's routine? You go off G-forces, cleanness, the look. How do you know which one's more clean? Like, once again, and then there's no perfect score. How do you get a perfect 10? Same thing with ice skating. I don't think none of these shit should be sports. like that the sequestrian water thing when they're all in the thing doing the routine. Why are these things sports? Who came up with this idea? Throw them out. Throw it out. That brings me to number 4. Wokeism is still alive and well. Go back to my old video with the why France subjected us up to the Last Supper. The wokeism is still there. I don't think we need to talk about it anymore. It's alive and well. Good for the woke people. But then that brings me to number 5. I think largely why the Olympics is such a huge hit amongst guys is largely because women's sports is kind of just like a swimsuit display. Most guys, like I don't think anybody watches most of the guys' shit. I think most of the guys are watching women's track and field, women's volleyball, and they're just watching all the women's thing to watch how the women look good. Because you're looking at prime athletic women in the height of their physical features, walking around parading in swimsuits and tight shorts, booty cheeks showing, looking glowing like the Mrs. Clean. So I think largely the Olympics, if they're smart, and I think a lot of them are smart, they're basically banking on that guys are going to watch because they're just looking at the swimsuit people. Like I was on Twitter looking at the top 10 most beautiful women of the Olympics. I don't even know most of those girls even won. I really don't know if they won or not. But guess what? A lot of those girls are going to get a platform and get stardom just for being good looking and in shape and running. And it should be a lesson to most women. Get in great shape. And you'd be surprised what the world can offer you. You'd be very surprised. And that brings me to my next thing, which is the side characters of the Olympics. So I think what we all started to appreciate is like the small man from the random countries or small women from random countries that excel at one little thing, and it's their pride and joy because they were happy to do it. So my favorite 3 characters in the Olympics was the Turkish shooter. So I didn't know, so I watched shooting for the first time. They got these air pistols. Everybody has these glasses, these blind things, and they got these guns. They're setting like this. You got the one Chinese guy who's like, and everybody's in these special like suits. And then you got this one Turkish dude who walks up with his glasses and just walks up and looks, just shoots. And that's just the most badass thing because he's like, dude, why do we got all these special gadgets? What are we doing here? I'm just here to shoot. I drink my coffee, I wake up, take a piss, wash my hands, and I get out there and go shoot. And that's a man. You got to respect him. That's a man. I'm happy that dude, I think he got a silver or some shit. And then you had that the one Korean girl who hit us with the sexy. She won a lot of hearts and people's souls doing that thing because she was a main character. She got to express herself. And that's what the Olympics is really all about. It's about random people excelling and practicing, dedicating their life to obscure, random competition and practices and skills that really serve no benefit in life outside the Olympics. But that's what gives us hope in the world, that there's always going to be some kooky, weird person that excels in something that really doesn't necessarily benefit all humanity, but it gives us some type of hope that we can go and excel in things that actually matter. Because it shows if you dedicate your heart and soul to something, you can get better at it. And the last thing, we got another thing. Like this, number 7 was, did you even care? I think largely people didn't really care or watch the Olympics, or it was just background noise. I'm starting to believe most of it was just background noise, which is okay. That's what the Olympics is about. That's what sports and entertainment is about. It's about background noise to distract us from the droll, mundane, boring things of our life, and to produce some type of scarcity because it only happens 4 years. But I promise you, the Olympics happen every year. It will tank. Nobody will watch that shit. But because it happens every 4 years, we enjoy it. We appreciate it for the festivities because for some reason it makes us happy. And that brings me down to my bonus one. Breakdancing girl from, I think, Australia or some country. Who let her get on the stage? Who okayed that? And thank God that she did it because they made a mockery of this stupid thing that we call a sport that's not even real. And I appreciate her for that because that's what we need in life. We need people to make mockeries of things that don't make sense. Thank you. This is Apex Sapien signing out on my Olympic coverage, and more to come on the year.